Hi, my name is Cheri, and today I am going to be showing you a card that we will be doing at my stamp camp. But I wanted to remind you that the Holiday Mini, or the Holiday Catalog, I've been around for too long. The Holiday Catalog will be starting in September. If you don't have it yet, let me know, and I will be happy to send you one. The stuff I'm using today, not part of the Holiday Catalog because it is a project that we were going to do at my camp. And if you're in the Indianapolis area and you would like to attend my events, just message me down below or comment depending on what format you're watching this, and I will let you know. The easiest way to find out about my in-person events, or really any of my events, is to be part of my email list, and you can do that on Facebook or on my website. There's a sign-up link to get my emails. I do have a couple of online events. My free online class will be the Apple Builder Punch, and I do have a couple of videos up where I've been doing those, and it goes with the Harvest Hellos, which is under a stack of stuff. There, I didn't knock it over. I'm going to be doing this stamp set, and I have a free online class, and that will sign-ups for that start on September 4th. So if you're interested in that. And then I have, if you're a demonstrator, we have some demonstrator events coming up. The live one is, the registration's done for that. But if you live anywhere in the United States or Canada, anywhere really, but the postage could be an issue. But we have a demonstrator one, and then we have one for just customers who love to stamp. And it will be all online, all video, and there's me and a few other demonstrators that are doing it together. We actually have a Facebook Live where we discuss all of the ins and outs of that, and that's happening tomorrow. I think I'm going to get that today. So for all of the fun events that you can be a part of, you can go over to my website and find out about those. And there is a great sign-up special if you'd like to be a demonstrator. One of the events that we'll be doing will be with Onstage in Lansing, Michigan, where Stampin' Up will be holding an event in November to release the Occasions Catalog. We haven't even done the Holiday Catalog yet, and the celebration that will start in January. But if you want to go to a Stampin' Up event, you could sign up to be a demonstrator. They'll be all over the United States. We'll be at the one in Lansing, and we are doing a pre-event there, a class. So, but in August, there's some great sign-up specials, and I will have those over on my website as well. And I would love to have you be part of my team. We have a lot of fun. But today, I'm going back to the annual catalog because this is for my camp that's this week. So for all you camp girls, you can watch carefully, and then when you come, you won't have to read the instructions. Not that you do anyways. But we're going to use a super fun set that is new in the annual catalog, which is still our new catalog. And then I'm going to go back to last year's holiday catalog, which is the buffalo check. I have loved this background stamp. It's a must-have in my opinion. Eventually it'll go out of style, but right now buffalo check and the plaid print is so on trend in everything. If you go into any of the like places where you're going to see fall Christmas decorations, buffalo check is on everything, and there's a lot you can do with it. So I'm going to use the Ride With Me. I'm going to use the dies, but the thing with these dies, they don't cut out the truck. They cut out the truck if you want to make the 3D truck. We're not going to do the 3D truck because we're doing a card, but I wanted to show you the detail in this 3D truck that I did not make. This is one of the girls that does some of the demonstrator and online events with me. So Tanya made this, but look, it even puts like little grooves in it, and she added the little hubcaps. So she did a really cute feminine version of the truck. The one I'm going to do today could kind of be, the card could be for a guy or a girl. And I'm going to do it two ways. But there is a Christmas tree as well. So you could use this set and do your Christmas cards if you want. I'm going to do either, at camp they'll be able to pick if they want to do a harvest version or a happy birthday version. Or if they know somebody whose birthday is in October, you could do the pumpkin version and then put happy birthday on it. So it's kind of a you pick for them. So with the buffalo check, because we're going to be doing lots of them at camp, we're going to use the Stamparatus, which you all know I love my Stamparatus. So I have it set up for them to use. So it's all laying in here. So the secret when you do the Stamparatus with the buffalo check, the nice thing is that if it doesn't stamp perfectly the first time, you can put it back in. So I have the grid paper that you can get to go with your Stamparatus. It's cut perfectly to size. You slide it down in here, and then you stamp it once. I stamped it on my back side, you can see there. And then I knew the measurements, like where I needed to lay my paper. And so for the girls, I've kind of marked it off, and this is where it best hits the paper. And then I have a tiny bit, that's why it stuck when I opened it, a tiny bit of adhesive that I've just laid there because it needs to stamp the whole thing. So the magnet I just have up here. So they're just going to lay their cardstock in right there inside my things. And then we're going to take pumpkin pie, nice fall color. And you just kind of half slide it open. I never shut my pads all the way because I don't like to close them. You can probably tell if you watch many of my videos, people think I use my pads upside down, and that's fine. Maybe it's the Australia, you know, I lived in Australia too long. I like my things upside down, but I don't like to close the pads, so I typically just use them flipped up. So just ink this, and again, it doesn't matter if you miss anything. And the nice thing at camp is once it gets all inky, I have cleaned it, but once it gets all inky, each successive person that uses it, it will need to be inked less and less. But the sad thing is I want to use this on a couple of other projects I have in mind for our classes that are upcoming, but I don't want to take this off of here, and I don't want to clean it because it's kind of a little, it's not difficult to clean, but it does. I don't have my sticker on it. It does clean better if you take it over to your sink and kind of rinse it off. That's why I don't have my sticker on mine. So then you just close it and press, and just press good. Again, it doesn't matter if it doesn't ink well. But I'm not real bothered either when mine doesn't ink perfectly, because if you look at the buffalo check, like a lot of times it's on fabric, and fabric's not perfect. So right here, I didn't get well, but I can see the ink here, so it doesn't even need to be re-inked. I just didn't press there. So just press there. And right here, again, I can see the ink. So sometimes it's that you didn't ink well, and other times it's that you just didn't press. And I'm just holding my scissors here because that paper, I don't want it to move. So my image is going to go in the middle, so if I don't have any ink there, that's fine. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit. It does have ink there, but I think I'm just not pressing hard enough because I'm sitting down. I often use this standing up, but that should get it because now it has lots of ink. So there's my pumpkin pie background. Yeah, there we go. So see how nice that is. And again, if you're doing a nice and strong background, just re-ink the whole thing again and stamp again, and then it's going to be solid coverage of pumpkin everywhere. But like, I'm not worried about this because my image is going to cover it up, and I tend to not worry about it anyways because. So just pull that off, and this little bit of sticky will hold it for everybody that's coming to camp. But it also does make this stick when they open it. Okay, so that's all that we need for the Stamparatus. It's a fabulous tool. If you have like arthritis or anything, it also is great for helping you stamp. So then I have some Pretty Peacock, which is one of our new in colors. I'm going to take another piece of grid paper to use for scrap because we're going to use our blends. And at camp they have scrap paper on the table, so they have a big piece. Fold this in half. And then I debated which one to do for you guys, but I'm going to do the fall one. But I guess I'll cut my stuff out first. So we'll stamp and cut. So I'm going to use, this is our nested label die, and again it was new in the annual catalog. So I just grabbed a piece of scrap paper. So I just want to make sure that I have enough space. So I'm going to stamp the truck. And again, the truck die does not cut the truck out. It cuts out all the pieces, but if you want to cut the truck out, you have to do it by hand. So I debated on whether or not to stamp it on here. And you could make it work, I think. But I liked my images going up over the top, and I liked kind of the 3D look that it gave. If you were doing your Christmas cards, I'm going to lay this down and stamp it. If you're doing your Christmas cards, then I'd probably stamp it on here. And you could go the next size up to make sure it all fits a little better. Because you might not want to take the time to cut all the trucks out. I personally like to cut, I find it therapeutic. Kind of cutting and coloring, kind of my thing. So just stamp your truck. And then if you're going to do the balloons, you don't put any balloons in here. So just the truck. And then you stamp 2 sets of balloons. Now I'm going to do the pumpkin one on this. So here's the trick with the pumpkins. because I like the 3D effect. So I'm going to stamp pumpkins in my truck. And if you're just going to do one, you don't want a 3D effect, then just stamp it down near the truck. I want it to be a little high. So it's going to look kind of funky on this one. But just go a little high, and you'll see why later. So there's a gap, but it's photopolymer, so you can move it down so you could see it. You'll see in a minute why I did that. And then I'm going to do another one, and this will be my 3D. So let's color those, and then we'll cut them all out. I'm not going to color them all. I do need to color this one because I need it. And then we have one more thing to stamp at the end. So just a couple of tricks with coloring with the blends. So I'm going to do my truck and peacock. So I have the dark and the light. So start with the dark. And the areas where you might want the truck to be shaded, especially where it kind of separates the panels and separates the colors. Just do a little bit of dark. And then take your light, and I'm just using the bullet tip because this is a pretty, it's not the smallest thing you'll ever color, but it's not giant. And then just blend those colors together. And then in the truck, because it's the largest, you do want to make sure that you leave a little bit of a white area in a couple places. And I'm just going to color part of this for you because I have a finished one. So get it like that. And then go back again with your dark and just add a little bit more just so this gets a little darker. And then one more time. This is the only one where you're going to do multiple colors like that. And it might bleed a little bit, but you're going to cut this out so it doesn't matter. So you'll just have it like this. That's kind of too big of a white area. There you go. And then I will tell you just a couple of tricks. On the wheels, or the tires, I used basic black. Now when you color with the basic black, you know, it doesn't take long before you've covered up your design. So take your dark and see where it's got the shading on my tires. You just go, I'm gonna cover the shading up with the dark, just one strip. And then take your light and just lightly, like I'm not gonna press hard, but I'm using the bullet tip because I don't want to brush black. Most of the colors you can kind of work out with the color lifter, or like brushing a lighter color over it. The black kind of, once it's on there, it's on there. And you don't want black all over everything, but you do want your tires to be black. So just use a light touch on that. And then you have some great dark tires with a little bit of the darker accent. And as long as you go light with it, you can still see the stamped image through. And then the nice thing is we have, my black's back. Now with the new Smoky Slate, we have Smoky Slate and Gray Granite. I mean with the new Gray Granite. So you have enough colors. I did some of them in, like I just divided them up so you don't have all colors touching. And then I did, this is pineapple. So if you just take pineapple and barely brush some on here. And then I took the dark and did that for my headlight, which is just a tiny little bit, but just enough that you can kind of see the headlight. And then over here on the pumpkins, what I did was I took pumpkin pie, of course, and take your light, and this time you can use the brush tip. Kind of just squidgy that through. And then take your dark and just add it to a couple of the stripes on the pumpkin. And then you're going to go back to your light pineapple and take the brush tip, the bullet tip, and use that to kind of blend these around. And you don't need to color everywhere, just kind of where there's no color. And that kind of just gives you some highlighting. there on your pumpkins. And then the leaves are super tiny, so I have the olive. And again, just a brush tip with those. So I did light first and just a teensy tiny brush tip. And then just kind of hit it with color again. If you use the bullet tip on these, it could bleed, and these are going to be on your top, so you want them to look nice. So just enough to get some color. Okay, so we need to cut these out. And there is a die that will do. The dies do cut out all of the things that go in the truck. And then they would cut out all of this stuff. Where did I put the truck? You can see they cut out the balloons. And then you need to cut my panel. So get your die cutting machine. If I can pick it up. See if we can get them both to go at once. These do better if they don't go straight through, so kind of move them over. And then this, you want to make sure that you have it as close to the leaves as possible, because it can go further down. It gives you like a little place to adhere your adhesive on the bottom. And then one pass through is plenty for both of them. Okay, now we're going to take our background, and I have the pretty peacock. And the set comes with a tiny little heart. So I want this piece because I don't want to waste all my time stamping something that's not going to show. So kind of lay this on here, and you can see this part that was kind of mushy on here, it's not going to show. So just kind of lay it, and you can see it's going to show like these two bottoms and kind of that, and then the edges. So just very gently, because you don't want to get ink on your stamp, on your stamp block, just on your stamp. I'm going to put a checkerboard pattern onto my buffalo check, and you do need to ink it every time, otherwise the hearts will be too light, but it goes fast. And then I'll show you the other design, because I'll let the girls choose which one they want. And then this time I'm going to do it in the white. I made one into a flannel and one into a checkerboard, so they'll be able to pick which one they want to do. And so it showed those two, so lay your thing back on there. Again, you don't want to spend time stamping stuff that's not going to show. So I can go down the sides of this and then across the bottom. So let's do the bottom. And then these, and then we'll fill up the edges on the sides once we've got these done. So then this one's on white, so this needs to be on pumpkin, so just go every other. And then they should meet perfectly up here. And again, over here, it's on white, so it goes on pumpkin. And then on the other one, I just took a piece of paper and I took the bullet tips of the blends and just drew some flannel lines on there. So this one, there are several sayings in the kit. This one I put, today belongs to you, ride with the windows open. Where's my saying? It's here, so it just goes on the bottom of this. There's one that says, I'm always here to pick you up. There's a happy birthday, a happy harvest, a Merry Christmas. And I just smudged that too much. Get the extra ink off of there. So you want to put your sayings down near the bottom of your panel and just kind of space them out according to which sayings you're using. I'll show you the way I did the happy birthday one, because on that one I used 2 on the front. And then I'm going to take this, and it moved a little bit. I wanted more of my white to be at the bottom, but that's okay. So what I did was I took and I trimmed this off, because you don't want any white here. Look at this, here's my scraps don't all fall everywhere. And then again I took this, and you're going to trim this part off. This is so you'll get the 3D. Well, I put this here and I'm shooting my scraps over. And then if you want, you don't have to do this, but I'll do it real quick because mine moved. I should have put this at the top and my other thing at the bottom, because when the other thing went through, I think it squished this down just a fraction. That's a die cutting tip for you. The thing that you want most to be perfect, put through the machine first. There we go. And it may need to get a little bit more off. It depends. This is why you wanted the one in the truck to be stamped up a little bit, because you don't want them to be in the same spot when you layer this. Okay, so now we just have to stick it all together. So here's the truck that I finished coloring already. So we will stick this on here. And there, oh, there's, no, I did that last. There's nothing that I've used dimensionals on as far as putting the card together. I'm going to use some to put my pumpkins on. So that way they'll be the most 3D thing on here. So first put your truck on. And I like these, so the this was why I didn't stamp on the panel. I liked for the things to go off the top of this. And then you're going to take your tiny pumpkins, and you're going to take our little mini dimensionals and put 2 of them kind of up near the top, well, not the top, kind of in the middle. You don't want them right at the bottom. Take the backs off. Then when you stick them on, you're going to kind of ever so slightly move them so they're like the pumpkins aren't right on top of each other. And you can see, because these are cut a little short and the other one's stamped a little high, they don't match up. So they'll be like this. But you also don't want your pumpkins to not be in your truck. See how it looks? I mean, they're 3D there, and you could leave it like that, but that bothers me because it looks like they're outside the truck. So take your glue dots. And you just need 2. So take a glue dot here. I'm going to have to turn it around my direction. I was trying to do it so you could see it, but I can't see it. Put one there and smash that down. And then put one here. And smash that down. And I'm going to use 3. So now the top, because you put the dimensionals towards the middle or the top, are staying lifted up. And now it looks like they're in the truck. They're no longer lifted up. So your final step, if you've seen a couple of the last videos I've done, I pulled out some retro techniques. So you're going to take your scissors, because this is fine, but it looks a little flat to me. But I didn't want anything else to be 3D, because I wanted these to be the obvious thing that were 3D. So just take your scissors, move this so it doesn't get dirty, and drag it along the card. And it will tear the fiber in the paper, just ever so slightly. And it makes it look a little bit like fabric, but it definitely gives it a lift on the card and gives one more little 3D effect without actually being 3D. But it just gives a little bit of dimension. The other thing that's nice if you choose to do the flannel, sometimes when you run your blends on the edge of the card, like right, even though I start off and I go on to my card, sometimes when it first hits that card, it grabs a little bit more ink. So sometimes your little things right here have a little bit more ink. So if you do this, then those disappear. So just kind of scuff this up. It does make a little bit of a mess because all these little paper fibers fall on the table. But the results are worth it, especially on a card like this. This used to be such a popular thing that we actually had a little tool that Stampin' Up sold that did different texture techniques like that for you. Okay, just stick this on here. And you really notice it pops on this peacock background, the roughed up edges. So there it is. So here's the one I did before. And then here is if you want to do the balloons. And if you wanted to do the Christmas tree, I might change the background color to be maybe maroon or cherry cobbler. I probably wouldn't go red if you wanted to keep the peacock, but you could definitely do cherry cobbler or maroon, and then do your tree. But there's the balloons, and you can see both of these I ran through the die machine so I could kind of position them where I wanted them to be. And the same thing with this one. This one didn't need any glue dots because I just literally stuck those down inside the truck. I did take, I will tell you, if you choose to do the balloons, to make these be shorter, I cut the strings off. So these strings stayed the full length, you can see, the back ones, and then these here, I cut the strings off. It was easier to stick them in there. If you haven't glued your truck on right there, you might be able to stick them on, but it's easier, I think, to just cut the strings off. So there you go. That is the Ride With Me bundle. And I will put everything that you need, everything this time, and like some of my cards I've done recently, everything that you need is available in the catalog right now. So all that you need to make it will be down below, and you can buy it now. So everybody have a great day. Bye.